All right, let's get back in here. Live and kicking. To those who still sing and are changed like the sea, means as we are aging. Let's get down in here. Prologue. Now you're 64, give or take. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? The Beatles. Remember when then 64 was a myth, something turning on the outer edge of our imagination? And I need my glasses. I'll tell you, that's turning on the outer edge to read with. We had better things to do, schools to finish, careers to start, mates to find, etc. Sure, our grandparents were old, but they had always been old, preferred being old, chose to be old. Curious choice, not ours. A blur of momentous events, Vietnam, civil rights, Berlin Wall, goings-on in the Oval Office, 9/11. Meanwhile, we finished school, started a career, found a mate, not to mention, etc. We didn't start the fire, but it has consumed us. Suddenly, and quite suddenly, we just turned around and hey, it's us, 64, give or take. Growing old isn't as bad as we feared. Most of us will stay in good health and find engaging things to do in our retirement. However, growing old is not eating a peach. It's not for sissies. It won't be for us. It won't be for you. This book will help you and it will help us. The problem is this: there are lots of things you need to know now in order to avoid trouble. On the other hand, there are things you don't need to know unless you're in trouble. It's good to think about living wills now, but you need to worry about fighting age discrimination. But you don't need to worry about fighting age discrimination unless and until it happens to you. What's a poor boy to do? Divide the book. The first part of the book, Training for Ill, is designed to be read. It deals with a ghastly range of topics: living wills, the aging process, and on a lighter note, protecting your identity and avoiding scams. There will be advice on how to stay mentally active, perhaps staving off senility by doing crosswords, and advice on how to recognize one of the plagues of growing old. I'm going to leave it there and I'll come back to this here. You can read it yourself if you want, but I'm going to try to read it because some folks, as we grow older, eyesight is compromised, so you can break that frame up. But I'm going to come back to that, come back to this. Growing old strokes. Finally, on retirement, it isn't always all that is cracked up to be. We offer some advice on coping with existential angst. Remember when that was something we puzzled over in the afternoon before going to that night's party? Which was it? Existence precedes essence, or essence precedes existence? You might think I can skip that part. I already know about living wills, hospice, and virtues of exercise. But Samuel Johnson was right. People more often need to be reminded than informed. Training for ill isn't pleasant. We would all prefer to go to the beach, to get around to it tomorrow. Training for ill today will allow us to avoid it tomorrow. Or, if we can't, to better cope with it. Resist your little voice shouting, "You don't have time for this now. Maybe tomorrow." Take a deep breath. Sit down and read. On the bright side, not every bad thing we mention will happen to you. The rest of the book can wait until you have specific questions. Our later topics: retirement, finances, housing, and health insurance. Family matters, divorce and remarriage, grandchildren, financial obligations. Trouble, elder abuse, bill collectors, and age bigots. Estate planning, wills, living trust, trust for special needs, probate. Bad times, disability, and death in the family. And in a shameless ploy to sell more books, we have devoted a chapter to sex. Good news on that front. We were going to call this book Geezer Law, Cooler Heads Prevailed. Why? We invited to parties. We were invited to parties. Come to Larry's 65th. Please, no serious presents. Our goal with Geezer Law was to overtake adult diapers and capture the joke gift market. But we had loftier, more respectable goals as well. In the civil rights movement, came a sharp defining moment. We're not Negroes, we're black. Everything changed. We're not senior citizens, we're not olders, and we aren't living our golden years. We're geezers, and here we come, ready or not. Finally, style. We won't write down, you're probably smarter than us. I'll repeat that. We won't write down, you're probably smarter than us. Editors, mostly in their 30s, have advised, kill the jokes, the poetry, the background stuff. Just tell them how to stretch their Social Security check. Despite what these whippersnappers may think, us geezers don't shuffle over to the couch, sit blankly before a static TV, drooling oatmeal. We still have our humor, our curiosity, our intellectual excitement. We'll come and go, talking of Michelangelo, telling bad jokes and reciting wonderful poetry. If you're in it for just the information, you've picked up the wrong book. Not that there's no information here. We just think you need a spoonful of humor with your maturity medicine. Legal prose is pretty deadly. A law professor from Yale once wrote, there are two things wrong with almost all legal writings. One is style, the other is content. That I think covers the ground. Readers like a dash of pepper or a dash of salt along with their information. They won't get any seasoning if lawyers can help it. Lawyers would rather be dignified and ignored. This book will help you. It will help your families. We won't let you ignore it. We'll put on lampshades, paint our noses red, and do backflips. Okay, no backflips. That's a start. Tell you what's going on here. I'll get into it now and then. Self-abuse, Vegas, booze, and the question of guns. What you've got going on in the backyard is self-abuse, and there's just many families have it. There's an opiate crisis in the nation. Many individuals that are homeless can have parents and families of great resource. It's just that a head injury, a developmental disability, mental illness, just the angst of living can bring the best of people down. Hope that helps.